Welcome to the Journal. That famous definition of a cynic as someone who knows the price of everything but the value of nothing has come to define this present moment of American politics. The power of money drives cynicism into the heart of all levels of government. Everything and everyone comes with a price tag attached, from a seat at the table in the White House to a seat in Congress, to the fate of health care reform, our environment, and efforts to hold Wall Street accountable. On the right and the left and in the vast middle, more and more Americans doubt that representative democracy can survive this corruption of money. Last month, the Supreme Court carried cynicism to new heights with its decision in the Citizens United case, a case, you will recall, spun from a legal dispute over the airing on a pay-per-view channel of a documentary attacking Hillary Clinton. The decision could have been made very narrowly. Instead, the conservative majority of 5 justices issued a sweeping opinion that greatly expands corporate power over our politics. Since then, in at least 2 separate polls, an overwhelming majority of Americans say they want no part of the court's decision. They want even more limits on the power of money in elections. But candidates, special interests, and their campaign consultants are gearing up to exploit the court's gift in the fall elections. Media outlets in particular are licking their chops at the prospect of all that extra money spent on buying airtime. If you want to know just how corrosive this flood of money may turn out to be, look to the decision's potential impact on our court system, where, as you know, integrity, independence, and fair play count the most when it comes to preserving faith in our system. In 39 states, judges have to run for election. That's more than 80% of the state judges in the country. The Citizens United decision means those elected judges are even more susceptible to the corrupting influence of cash, because many of their decisions in civil cases directly affect corporate America, and a significant amount of the money judges raise for their campaigns comes from lobbyists and lawyers. There's now a crooked sign hanging on every courthouse in America reading, "Justice for Sale." It was already apparent 10 years ago. That's when I collaborated with public television's FRONTLINE and the Center for Investigative Reporting on a documentary produced by Steve Talbot and Sheila Kaplan about the impact of money on judicial elections. In the 10 years before our report, candidates for high court judgeships in states around the country raised $85 million. In the decade since, the numbers have more than doubled to over $200 million. In this extended excerpt, you'll see how money crept into judicial elections in 3 states, Pennsylvania, Louisiana, and Texas. And you'll get a stark foreshadowing of what could come now that the Supreme Court has announced the sky's the limit. You'll also hear from 2 Supreme Court justices who went on to participate in the Citizens United decision, one of whom wrote the majority opinion. He sings a very different tune now from the one he sang for our cameras 11 years ago. We begin in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Look as if you're looking over the file.
Okay.
District Attorney Peter Paul Olszewski knows that if he wants to become a judge, these days he has to campaign like a politician on television.
And action. As District Attorney, Peter Paul Olszewski considers it his duty to fight crime. Okay. You've got to look a little more animated, Peter.
Okay.
Okay?
A little more animated.
And action.
District Attorney Peter Paul Olszewski considers it his duty to fight crime.
To pay for his expensive TV ads, Olszewski has to raise lots of money. And where does the money chase take him? To the very lawyers who may one day appear before him in court.
And I look forward to that first time when I am standing before you and I have to say, Your Honor. And I really am. You know, that would be the greatest thrill. Oh, yeah.
Judge Tom Burke is already on the court. To hold off a strong challenger, he reckons he'll need to raise $250,000. That means a lot of time at country club fundraisers.
Your mom was my French teacher.
You choose to enter a campaign, and one of the first things that you realize is this is all about selling yourself over the next 6 to 12 months.
It's almost like an impulsive buy at a supermarket, you know? That's how people vote based on emotion.
We have spent an inordinate amount of time.
$250,000 enables Judge Burke to afford a high-priced media consultant and commercials that are ready for prime time.
Am I concerned with having the most cinematic music that I can possibly have behind a radio spot? Am I concerned about what the light looks like when our candidate walks into a courtroom? Am I concerned about how he looks? That we present him the way he should be seen by the voters, as a dignified, wonderful, humble, hardworking, incredible, deserving of your vote kind of guy? Yes, I do. They are emotional ways, emotional angles that I go in. And yes, people do vote based on that.
Every day, Judge Tom Burke brings a lifetime of experience to his Luzerne County courtroom. As a father of 5, he's concerned for the future of our children. As your judge, Tom Burke is committed to seeing that those in his courtroom are held accountable for their actions. Vote for Judge Tom Burke.
Hey, Mr. Cap, thanks for coming out. I appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Meanwhile, back in the pack, the challengers must hunt for voters the old-fashioned way, handshake by handshake. Municipal Judge Fred Pierantoni, a descendant of coal miners, does his fundraising with Frankfurters.
After this election, I won't touch a hot dog for at least 6 months.
The proceeds from his fundraisers are modest, and he can afford only the most basic and noisy campaign commercial.
Over 25,000 cases in 7 years. Assistant District Attorney, 5 years. District Justice, 7 years. Judge Pierantoni, the experience you want. Pierantoni, the people's judge.
Going on the bus? Yep. My name's Virginia Martha Cowley. I'm running for judge.
Virginia Cowley is also short of funds.
How about a cookie?
Her hopes depend on kinfolk and the public's sweet tooth.
My name is Virginia Martha Cowley. I'm running for judge. There's a lucky cookie to remember me by.
There are really just a couple of points that I'd like to hit in the commercial that needs to come out of your mouth. One of them is, Virginia is one tough cookie.
People are talking about Virginia Martha Cowley for judge.
Virginia's one tough cookie.
Protecting our children, our senior citizens, keeping our neighborhoods safe. That's what this job is all about.
Vote Virginia Martha Cowley, judge.
What it has become is the ability to buy the seat. If you have $500,000, you can basically go out there and get your name on TV so many times that you will have bought yourself a job for the rest of your life.
Sure enough, the winners for the 2 open seats are the candidates who raised the most money and made the most expensive TV commercial.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, big guy.
We did it.
Hey, what do you think?
We did it.
Isn't that fabulous?
It's a system that disturbs even the winning media consultant.
Fabulous.
Other people who are in my profession will be ready to kill me. I don't care. I don't. I think that the amount of money flowing around out there to get people judicial seats is obscene. It's unfair, and people are ending up with a chance to be on a bench who have no business being there. I really believe that we are in a system where elections can be bought. It's sad.
That's what concerned the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, so they appointed a commission chaired by Philadelphia Attorney Jim Mundy to investigate the election process.
When we made the quantum leap to media campaigns and judicial elections, we lost perspective. And now you see contributions of 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10, 15, 25,000. I think that changes the whole ballgame now.
It takes over $1 million these days to get elected to Pennsylvania's Supreme Court, and there are no limits on how much an individual can give.
Hi, Bill Cook, how are you?
This group, a business lobby, is raising money to bankroll candidates for the court.
Nice to meet you. Congressman Bill Moyers. We actually got involved in judge campaigns back in 1989. We realized from our old Civics 101 that there's 3 stools of government. One is the executive, obviously, the legislature, both of which we play very well in. And in Pennsylvania, the odd number of years are the judicial elections. In 93, 95, and 97, we got involved in Supreme Court campaigns. Senator, how are you?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Having fared well with the state legislature, Bill Cook's outfit is now determined to elect a state Supreme Court, which would be sympathetic to business interests.
There are issues that we want the legislature to pass, that we want the governor to sign into law, and we would certainly like to have justices find those issues constitutional when they come before them.
The perception that special interests are buying favor with judges prompted the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to conduct a public opinion poll.
What we found is that people believe that money buys judicial favor. 89% believe that most of the time, some of the time, or all of the time, judicial decisions are affected by monetary contributions. If we had no other data than that, we would know we had a problem.
The concern that each of you expressed was in particular about campaign contributions to judicial races. Why do you see that as a threat to independence and neutrality?
In part, it's because the campaign process itself does not easily adapt to judicial selection. Democracy is raucous, hurly-burly, rough and tumble. This is a difficult world for a jurist, a scholarly, detached, neutral person to operate.